CET LLB is done, and half of the aspirants must have appeared for the examination. So please do tell us how was the paper. I've been getting the feedback the paper was easy to moderate, and one thing which people were talking about, the jumbled paper, English section was all together and rest of the sections were jumbled up. Okay, so please do share the number of attempts, how was your paper and how many questions you attempted in the paper. So do tell us that how many questions, how was the paper, any section you found difficult or easy, or your anything which you found unusual in the paper. Was there anything? Okay, so all of you are saying easy. Okay, एक hour में हो गया. How is it possible to do 150 questions in 1 hour? That's too much. Legal GK, no, 150 questions, yes. How many attempts you did? Okay, so people are saying 150. Good, because in this paper there was no negative marking. ठीक है, जब कोई negative ही नहीं है तो सारे questions attempt करने. Good. Please join the session fast. Okay, mocks से easy आया था. All right. What about legal reasoning? How was the legal reasoning section? Okay, so tell the number of attempts, share the number of attempts so that we get to know that how many people have attempted, what will be the good score and all. 140. Okay, so we have Ishan Singh saying 140, Amit is saying 150. 150 attempted. Good. If you have attempted all the questions, that is the best strategy to do in such an examination, because there is no negative marking, right? So you should have done all the questions. Okay, so we'll discuss about all things in detail. Please tell the number of attempts first so that we get to know. Okay, so we have a poll here. Please answer in the poll how many questions did you attempt, more than 120, 100 or less than that, between 100 to 120 or less than 100. Okay, so most of you have done good number of attempts. So let's have some look about this, right? So it is to be conducted in 2 slots. First slot was from 9 to 11. Second slot is yet to happen from 2 to 4. So the ones who are yet to appear in the examination can watch this analysis to get some idea that what is the kind of questions that they are asking, right? What is the difficulty level? Although the difficulty level may not be the same, in that case there will be normalization. अगर difficulty level अलग-अलग रहता है तो normalized score आएगा, ठीक है? So don't go by this that the difficulty level be the same, right? So the level was easy to moderate, right? Most of the students were able to attempt a good number of questions, so it was not difficult. Okay, legal reasoning was the lengthiest section, right? It was time consuming, lengthy passages, fact, principle, right? Acha, one thing, till last year they used to have separate sections. This year only English was a separate section and rest of the 4 sections were jumbled up. Okay, so that you need to remember that the other sections were jumbled up. So accordingly make your strategy, right? I had talked about one section that you can divide your time between those sections, right? Like suppose there are 100 questions, so you can divide into 25 into 4 parts, okay, and give equal time to all those parts. All right, anyway the paper was easy. Most of the people have been able to attempt a good number of questions. Okay, so let's see the exam structure. This was the structure. English had 30 questions which were together. All other sections were jumbled up. Okay, so 35 questions in GK and current affairs. Legal aptitude and legal reasoning 40 questions. This was the only section which was time consuming. Okay, other sections were quite easy. This section was time consuming, maybe lengthy section. Okay, and logical analytical reasoning 30 questions and mathematical aptitude 15 questions, total of 2 hours. There was no sectional timing. Okay, and sectional cutoff is also not there, right? So in case you are you do not feel comfort in one of the sections, you can maximize your score in the other sections. After all, overall score matters. ठीक है, लास्ट में जितना आपका overall score बनता है वही काउंट होता है. So do not worry about कि मेरी मैथ्स अच्छी नहीं है तो मैं कैसे क्वालिफाई करूंगा. You can qualify using other sections also. Okay. So difficulty level of the examination आप यहाँ पे बताइए रहिए. So most of the people have attempted more than 120. It shows that you must have done good in the examination, right? सबको easy लगा होगा पेपर. ठीक है, English is easy to moderate. Okay, so it was easy to moderate. General knowledge was also easy to moderate, बहुत difficult नहीं आया था. There was mix of current affairs and static, right? So balance में आता है current affairs, static, and legal aptitude and legal reasoning was moderate. Lengthy questions थे थोड़े इसी section में, बाकी और sections काफी easy थे, isn't it? So moderate section, and logical analytical reasoning was easy to moderate, again easy section, and maths was also easy. So all in all, the paper was easy to moderate. People have attempted heavily, and we had a poll here also, and most of you responded that you have attempted more than 120 questions. Okay, you have attempted a good number of questions. That's great. Now good attempts, I mean the score that you should get is, good number of score in English would be somewhere around 20 to 25. Okay, so if you get around this, above this, that's a good score. Okay, general knowledge 22, 23 out of 35 questions. Legal aptitude 28 to 30. If you are able to get above 30, it's good. Okay, logical analytical around 20, 24. Mathematical aptitude 10 to 11. So somewhere around 105, 110 should be a 100. So they've given a broader range. I would rather narrow it down to 105 to 110. If you are scoring, now this is not the number of attempts, this is the score that you are getting. Okay, because if there is no negative marking, that good attempts means 100, all 100% questions, right? All 150 questions would be the best attempt, right? Why would you skip a question? Okay, so all in all, the score should go in this range. The cutoff for GLC Mumbai, right, that should be around this range, somewhere in 105 to 110. Easy paper, easy compared to last year. Okay, and keep that thing in mind that do not get nervous during the paper if you see jumbled up paper. Okay, whenever you were writing mocks, questions were section wise, but as you know that in other MH-CET papers also of other examinations, papers were jumbled up, so you already knew, कई लोगों को पता था कि jumbled up paper आएगा, और हमने discuss भी किया था कि if there is a jumbled up paper, how to tackle that paper. Okay, so apart from English, all sections were jumbled up. तो English के questions एक साथ आए हैं, बाकी jumbled up आए थे, so don't worry, right? There is enough time, and we can see that most of the people are saying that most of the people here are commenting that they were able to attempt a good number of questions. Okay, ILS Pune, yes, cannot say, but as per the prediction, the early predictions, वो तो बाद में accurate पता चलता है, अभी पेपर देख के ऐसा अंदाज आ रहा है कि somewhere 105, 110 should be the cutoff, right? So so that should be the cutoff of this paper, right? So now let us look at section wise distribution. How many questions in each topic from in each of the sections? So reading comprehension, 5 questions, 1 passage. If you remember the passage source, you can tell us that what was the topic of the passage, because I guess the student who gave us this feedback forgot to remember the topic of the passage. Okay, so incorrect spelling, 1 question. Homophones, 3 questions. Yes, sentence rearrangement, 1 question. 3 questions on antonyms, 6 questions on fill in the blanks, 4 questions on finding errors. So it was mix of everything, right? It was mix of grammar, it was mix of vocab and reading comprehension. So all sort of questions were given to you. Okay, so grammar के भी questions थे, जैसे finding error वाले हैं, और ये सब हैं. Idioms, these are your vocabulary based questions, synonym, antonyms, suffix and all those things. So these are all your basically sort of your grammar questions, vocab questions, and sentence rearrangement is sort of para jumble. Okay, so all type of questions in verbal was present, right? The section was easy to moderate, not very difficult, unlike CLAT and ALET where you have very high difficult level of questions. The questions here were easy to moderate, right? So people could have easily attempted 25 plus in this section itself, right? And then idioms, and there were some miscellaneous questions as well. So questions from different topics, right? So yes, this was the English section. So how many of you attempted? Okay, so Shyama Singh is saying euthanasia was the topic. Okay, RC was on euthanasia. Okay, so something which you must be familiar with. Okay, And yeah, this was an easy section. Let's see the next section, and please do let us know how many questions you attempted, how did you find the paper, right? Because it is from the perspective of some 5 to 10 people max, right? But you are a bigger audience here, you would be able to give a better justice to the analysis. Okay, so general knowledge was again easy to moderate, mostly it was static. Okay, so one thing remember is mostly static, very few questions from current affairs. Okay, all right, so there was one passage. Okay, so head of NHRC Akbarnama was written by, so these were most of the questions. Some of you are sharing the questions over here, good, right? So we will see some questions also. We'll see the exam analysis and see the questions. So mostly static, very few current affairs, right? So the ones who have been preparing continuously for static questions, so must have been must have done good with it. So legal aptitude, if we talk about, it was moderate, right? So there was principal fact based 8 questions and 32 questions on legal GK. Okay, so legal knowledge was asked heavily. Okay, and it was a moderate paper compared to the overall paper. This was the moderate section, other sections were relatively easy. Analytical reasoning was again easy to moderate. There was one puzzle of 4 questions. Okay, and then statement and assumptions 2 questions, coding decoding 10 questions, blood relations 2 questions, analogy 1 and classification 1, 3 on syllogisms and 5 on number series. They were wrong or missing number series. Some of you might have counted it as quant, but that is technically a reasoning topic. You have to use logic to solve these questions. Okay, so idiom was a man of straw. Okay, good, thanks for telling the questions. Okay, Parliament of US, yes, that was asked. So this was the distribution of reasoning section. Reasoning again easy to moderate. Okay, yes, number of union territories was also asked. So how many union territories are there in India currently? Okay, now mathematics, if we talk about, this was the distribution of mathematics section. Again, mathematics was easy to moderate. Some of the examinations have difficult paper in mathematics. Don't worry, this was easy in the case. Okay, so there were 2 questions on ratio proportion, 1 question on mensuration, 2 questions on problems based on ages. Again, that is related to ratios only. 3 questions on arithmetic series. Okay, and then you had 2 questions on averages, 2 questions on number system and 3 miscellaneous questions. Okay, so that was the distribution of the mathematical aptitude section, right? So again, easy to moderate section. So apart from legal reasoning, all sections could easily be done. Okay, so Ramanand is saying you could score 115 above. Great, Ramanand. Congratulations if you did this well in the paper. Okay, you shall definitely get a very good rank in the examination. All the best for it. Okay, so that is this was the distribution. So just a quick thing, that English had all questions together, rest of the sections were jumbled up. Apart from legal reasoning, all the sections were easy to moderate. Okay, now here are some of the questions that came in the examination. Okay, seating arrangement, yes, there was a puzzle on seating arrangement, 7 people sitting in a row, correct. So now here are some memory based questions which were asked in the examination. So the ones who are going to appear for the examination, of course these questions will not be asked. You will get to know what are the questions, and the ones who have appeared in the paper, please see the answers and you could get that how many of these you got it right? So how many union territories are there in India as on August 2021? 8. Okay, what is the theme of UNGA 2021, United Nations General Assembly, right? So something very recent thing. Okay, so it was building resilience through hope. Okay, and who signs 1 rupee note in India? Okay, so 1 rupee note is issued by Ministry of Finance, and it is signed by the Finance Secretary. Rest of the notes have RBI Governor's signature, but 1 rupee note has signature of Finance Secretary, right? So something from static, right? Queen of spices is cardamom. Okay, so some very random fact on GK. So GK is always unpredictable, right? Sometimes you get some very random questions, sometimes you get relevant questions also. Okay, so let's see the next set of questions. So these are the next set of questions. Which of the following is a folk dance of Tripura? So this Hosagiri must be one of the options, right? So this is the answer to this question. First country to introduce RTI. Yes, so Vidhan also remembers these same questions. Okay, yeah, so first country to introduce RTI was Sweden. Okay, and who wrote Akbarnama? Abu al Fazl ibn Mubarak. Okay, most recently created state in India, so that is Telangana, which was created in 2014. Since then it was just the 2 union territories that were created, not any state, right? So mostly, so that is not a current affairs question, that's a static question. Okay, so mostly the paper was static in nature, right? So static GK was dominating. Yes, very less current affairs, hardly 5-6 questions on current affairs, around 30 on static, right? But this might change in the second slot. So do not go by that any assumption that you will get the same thing in the second slot as well, right? Maybe you might have more questions on current affairs, right? So in case the paper is different from slot 1, then there will be normalization. Okay, of course there is normalization because 2 papers cannot be identically difficult. Okay, now who is duty bound to protect environment? So that is citizens. Okay, bigamy laws are not applicable to Muslims. So these are some questions from legal, right? Who is the chairperson of National Human Rights Commission? Justice Arun Kumar Mishra. Okay, and a petition under the Hindu Marriage Act can be presented before district court. A contract where only one party has to perform his promise is called a unilateral contract. Okay, so these were some of the questions that were asked in the first slot. Okay, so the ones who are appearing for the examination, you get to know ki kis tarah ka paper tha. Okay, if you are prepared, you will understand ki was this easy, was it difficult, right? What should be your now you do not have time to prepare any strategy, right? So these are some of the questions that we got. Okay, and yes, you have more questions, you can comment on the video, right, so that we can later on compile all the questions and create a memory based paper for you. Okay, so these were the questions, and the paper was easy. The ones who are going to appear in the afternoon shift, just be focused, right? Don't feel nervous, and even if the paper turns out to be difficult, don't think that oh, first slot was easy, second slot is difficult. There will be normalization. In case you also get an easy paper, be happy about that. Do not go about any number in your head that I have to attempt 115 questions, 120 questions. Try to attempt as many as possible, and yes, of course, attempt all the questions at least. Okay, because you do not have any negative marking. So attempt all the questions, whatever you can do genuinely, do that much genuinely. Okay, do not feel nervous during the paper, and even if your all paper is jumbled, so don't worry about that. There is enough time, right? In the first slot we saw that people were able to finish quite quickly, right? They had enough time to spend in the end. ठीक है, तो आराम से पेपर देना, और सेकंड शिफ्ट में जो दे रहे हैं उनको ऑल द बेस्ट, right? Be calm and do well in the paper, and the paper might change. I mean the structure might change. For example, you might have more of current affairs and less of static, right? So anything could happen. The number of questions might shift a bit, right? इसमें मैथ्स के 15 आ गए थे, क्या पता ऐसा हो सकता है सेकंड शिफ्ट में मैथ्स के 10 आ जाएं, या रीजनिंग में बढ़ जाएं, किसी में बढ़ जाएं, right? So that might happen. Some section might get difficult or easy. Okay, so in this case legal was difficult, moderate. Suppose legal turns out to be very easy and reasoning turns out to be difficult. So anything can happen. Do not go by any such thing, right? So do not think that that this is not exactly as the first slot. So normalization will take place, and you will be able to get a that relative score you will get for that, right? And the ones who appeared for the examination, all the best, and you must have seen that whatever your attempts have been, if you are getting 105 to 110, that's a good range of score, right? So if you are getting like 105, I mean the score, okay, So if you have more than that score, then you should be rejoicing that you shall be able to get into GLC. Okay, and yeah, so that's it about the analysis, right? And we will have more sessions coming up in which we'll discuss about the papers, right? We'll discuss section wise questions, so do attend those sessions. And if you have more questions to contribute, comment on the video of please comment in the comment section of this video, so that we can compile all the questions and prepare a memory based paper. Okay. All right, so Ramanand was perfect in legal. Yeah, so you have some time left. Yes, please do reach on time. The ones who are going to appear for the second slot, please do reach the center on time, so that there is no last minute hassle. Even I have to go for the examination, and I'll be appearing for the second slot. Okay, so the ones who are going for the second slot, just a feedback, quick check that the paper was easy to moderate. Okay, and apart from English, all sections were jumbled up. All right, so thanks. This was the analysis of the first session. I hope you found it valuable. So please don't forget to like the session before you leave it. And all the best to the aspirants who are going to write in the second slot. So thanks and have a great day ahead.